Welcome to Opinion Havers, a movie podcast for people named Dorcas. I'm Cody.
And I'm Dorcas.
Forgot about Dorcas, didn't you?
Are you kidding me? It's my only note, Cody. Dorcas is
Tyler.
all I remembered.
Tyler, what did we watch?
We watched seven brides for seven brothers.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. That's the
I
one.
believe your wife made the pick,
My wife.
and
My
I believe
wife.
you were not aware that it was a musical.
I was
before the
not.
movie started.
I was not aware that it was a Western, or a musical. I was unaware of all these things.
I forgot it's a Western, yeah. Oh, man. Tyler, do you want to just look? If there's ever been a movie whose title explains the movie, it's this one. But why don't you just give us a little rundown of what this movie's about?
All right, and I'll give you that rundown, Cody. So, you got this. It's a movie is about this. It's about this Chad who comes in with this BDE. We all know what that stands for. Big old swinging tassels on his clothes into town, and he's like, I need me a wife. And he, you know what, Cody? He gets it. He gets himself a wife. And then, but guess what, Cody? He got brothers. He got 6 brothers.
Whoa, how many? Oh.
And hilarity ensues, Cody. And they're like, we can't have one wife for 7 brothers. We need 7 wives for 7 brothers. 7 brides? 7 brides. 7 brothers.
7 brides for 7 bridegrooms. Tyler, you did a great job summarizing that thing. I take it this was your first time watching the movie.
Yes.
It is your maiden voyage to, through the canyon, as it were. How did it go for you?
It didn't end up as bad as I thought it would be. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Based on like when it started out, and I was like, oh no, this is a very old movie.
Yeah.
And then he started singing, and then I was like, oh no, there's more.
Yeah.
But by the end, I was like, all right, that wasn't too bad, But
Right.
I just wish I'd been prepared, both mentally and physically, and spiritually.
Well, we can all hold hands and agree it was Tiffany's fault for not preparing you.
I mean,
it seems like every other movie she picks is a musical, so I'm a little surprised it, took you back.
Well, it's like maybe this time wasn't going to be a musical,
Yeah.
If I expect every time to be a musical, then the one time it's not a musical, then I'm going to get taken by surprise that way.
Wow. They're just going to get you no matter what.
Exactly.
Let me tell you, Tyler. I saw 2/3 of this movie when I was just about to start college. I forget why, but we left. We watched a good hour 15 of this thing, and then we left. So I'd seen some of it. I forgot about half of what I had seen. And I liked it. I liked the movie. I think it's a classic. And it's one of those that, like, I think I could have enjoyed it more, but, like, I won't knock, I think it's a classic musical. It's a goodie. And I'm eager to discuss it with you.
Now, here's my question. Did you watch it with your wife?
Oh, yeah.
And
She was, let me tell
her
you.
take?
I told her that was the pick, and she was like, oh, all right. Like, she wasn't excited. She had seen it before. She wasn't excited to watch it. I made her sit on down and watch it with me because I'm a man, and I need a woman there to make me feel secure watching an old musical. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I caught her multiple times smiling and, like, bobbing her head along to the music. So I was like, you liar. You love this movie. She didn't want to admit it, but she did. She liked it. So there we are.
That's good.
Winning over Bailey's and Tyler's across the nation. 7 brides for 7 brothers.
Yeah. So are we just gonna get into it then? Are we
Oh
gonna
yeah, we dare not spoil this movie.
Cody,
60-year-old movie
get in the
without giving a
blanket?
little
All
fair
right, Cody.
warning.
Get
Get in
in,
the blanket.
get in the blanket. Get in the blanket, and I will whisk you away to Spoiler Town. But you get in the blanket, Cody.
I'm in it. I'm yelling. I'm hollering. I'm ready.
All right.
Are you feeling? My question is: are you feeling bold? Are you feeling like
Am
a
I-
bold man today? Do you want to go first?
You want me to go first?
I'm asking.
Of all the two of us, you want me to be the first
Is
person.
anyone here strong enough to do it? It's you.
I am strong. That's true. All right. I can try. Cody, I can try. I know you're more prepared than I am.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get out my OneNote. All right. I also should. You know what I never do?
Your timer's already running, my guy. You better.
You're
hustle.
talking. You can't be talking if my timer's running, you fool. Get out of here. I'm pulling up my timer. Don't even with that. I'm doing the timers. I'm the leader. I say when the timer starts. I started the timer, Cody. Don't you even stop. Dorcas. Don't marry that girl. Don't marry a girl named Dorcas. Don't kidnap her. Don't take her from her home. Don't. Cody, look at me. You ever met a girl named Dorcas? Of course you haven't, because it's not a real person, Cody. That is an alien. That is a shapeshifter. That is some kind of entity wanting to steal your soul or implant its eggs in your scrotum. All right? You don't need that in your life. You need to avoid Dorcas at all costs. The filmmakers of this movie, they knew this. They understood this. And then they're like, which one's the hottest of the brides? Dorcas. That's who it is. Dorcas. That's what we're going to do. All right. These brothers, they go out there. They're out here. Okay, so Adam, he comes rolling in here with his BDE, and he's like, I'm going to get me a wife. I'm going to go buy me one from the supermarket, which has the same energy of my wife saying she wants a child and me saying, like, all right, I'll go kidnap you one. She does not appreciate that, but I offer to every time. So, who's the real bad guy in this situation? All right. So then he goes in there, but he gets it, Cody. He gets it. Everybody's like, you can't come in here. But his name's Adam. He's got a beard, and he's 7.5 feet tall based on his size compared to all the other people. So, of course, he's going to get himself a wife. All right. He got that BDE, Cody. All right. What more do you need? All right. So he walks up there, he gets there, then they're like out there, and then all the other, this lady, she's trying to make her brothers presentable. There's a fight. They dance fighting, Cody. Classic dance fighting. Everybody loves it. Everybody loves the dance fighting. I was like, I don't think this is how they danced in the Old West. That's what I said to Tiffany, and she's like, you don't know that. And I was like, oh, well, you know what? You're right. You're right. I don't know that they didn't dance fight in the Old West for entertainment. But, Cody, I'll say it right now. I'll stand on this hill. I don't think they dance fought in the Old West, all right? I don't think that's what happened. I think in real life, these guys would have just been killed. I think they would have just killed these boys. They would have been like, we're going to kill these old boys. They're all ginger, so they don't have souls, so it doesn't count, right? It doesn't count. Based on the Catholic Bible, gingers don't have rules or don't have souls, so there's no rules against killing them. That's all I know. I've never been to Catholic school. I've never met a Catholic. I've never even seen anything Catholic, Cody. I live in Boston, so this isn't true. But that's what I know about the Catholic religion. All right. Anybody wants to tell me different, you tweet at Cody. Tell him that that's not true. But I think it is, and I think people will agree with me. I'll talk to the Turtle Pope. You know about the Turtle Pope. He's a giant turtle with the Pope hat. He says that's true. That's what he said to me. He told my Elden Ring character, Billy Bob Thornton, that is true. We'll get to that later. So like, "Cody, these boys, they came in here in the night. So Adams, okay? What's up with these guys? Their solution: he went out there and seduced himself a lady, and then his brothers are all sad, and his solution is let's go kidnap them. You knew enough not to kidnap your wife, dude. What the f? Or would he have? That's my question to you, Cody. Would he have kidnapped her? Was that his backup plan? I see you. If you say yes, you're getting snatched. Is that what's happening? Because I was not prepared for him to be like, look, the Romans did it. We're better than the Romans, so we can do it. What? So that they just kidnap all these girls, and then they give him Stockholm syndrome, Cody, and that's the true story. And here's what I don't understand. You said you did you see this before or after you had begun attending the school we both attended? Was it at the campus? Before? Before? Cody, I don't think you need to be friends with those people anymore. You watched this, not only, you said that you watched this in a singles setting. As in, like, there were many singles of multiple... Cody, this is not a
All
good
right,
movie.
Salad, I'm going to cut you
Cody,
off
I got
right
15 seconds left. You shut your
by
mouth.
my time.
Don't watch this movie as a date movie. This is a weird movie to pull up on a date, Cody. Cody, I'm going to need to cut myself off right there. There we go. That's a time.
I can't remember if I saw this right before I went to school or like right before I went on my mission. I can't remember. I don't know. I cannot speak under oath. I can't give testimony. I don't know.
Look,
right?
I mean,
It was either 11 years ago or 12 years ago. So you tell me.
This is
my
like
time?
the BYU Idaho mascot movie.
Saw it in California, all right?
Oh,
And
so sad.
also, yes, you're correct. I'm going to start. Here I go. He is a ginger man, okay? That was the first thing I noticed. Like, oh, he like ginger. You know what? I have a real fun I'm going to tease a fun fact for you, and I'm not going to tell it now. I'm going to tell you later. And if you steal it from me, I will put a blanket over your head, and I will take you to a cabin, and I will make you my wife, okay? That is what's going to happen if you spoil my fun fact from me. He wouldn't have kidnapped her because he hadn't read the book yet. He got the idea from her book, okay? So if anything, she gave him the idea to do the kidnapping, all right? It was her. She's an enabler. She was into it, and I stand by that, okay? He's problematic, and I love it. He's cruising through town, and he's like, need me a woman, and he's singing about it to everybody. Like, no wonder people didn't like him. He's just running around singing about women. And he's like, all right, I need to pick one. Y'all are pretty. I need to look at everyone before I make a selection. It's like, what? This is not, it's not Best Buy. Not just like browsing the shelves, but I loved it, okay? I was into it. What a great dude. What a good guy. Look, this movie, it was made in the 50s and it takes place in the 1850s, okay? Which means it was fine. It was okay. It's illegal. It's allowed, okay? And if it was legal at the time, then it's fine. Then it's fine, all right? Encapsulated in that time, we can just look past it and everyone can feel good about themselves. That's how, I didn't write the time book, okay? But that's how time works, and that's how the rules we all have to abide by. Am I right? Yes, I'm right, of course. Tell you what, I loved it. The baritone, you don't get a good baritone these days. You know what I'm saying? You don't. Everyone sings, it's all tenors out here. And a little baritone boy singing about chauvinism, I loved it. I was like, this is good stuff. This is the way it should be, you know, just a man singing those low sweet tones and taking what he wants, you know, because that is his right. That's when the country was great, you know, 1850s. Oregon just became part of the United States. You want it, and you're a white man, you just grab it. It's yours. That's how we got Oregon, all right? That's what you don't understand. He is living up to his heritage. So the good land of Oregon, home of the Trailblazers, okay? There's some great lyrics in this movie, okay? Heavenly eyes, but oh, that size. Loved it. He sang that. He sang that about a person that was 5 feet away. He's out here. He's out here just roasting people looking for a wife. Okay? And that's how you got to do it. That's how it's got to be done. Okay? My favorite thing about, he's like, I need a wife. I'm going to get a wife today. You're like, you want to marry me? And the lady, she runs the inn. She's a good cook. She's feisty. Multiple other people were like, hey, you want to marry me? And she's like, ha ha ha, no, no. And then one-on-one, he was like, do you want to marry me? She was like, oh yeah. I loved that like they established her as like a strong, independent woman, And then immediately it was like, yeah, it sounds good. That's fine. It was great. I really liked that about her, that she was just like, this is my character. Anyway, yeah, I'll go with you. That's cool. It was like that Bible story. Is it Rachel or Rebecca? I forget. Isaac's wife, where the guy's like, oh, you want to water me? And she's like, I'll get you some water. How about water for your camels? He's like, you're the one, He went to the inn. He's like, oh, she cooks. Yeah, that's the one for me. You know what I'm saying? She does stuff. That's what a man wants. A woman who does stuff, but also is the right size because of the song. I know that from the song. I'm learning a lot from this. I'm taking a lot of notes, and I'm going to apply this in my life, okay? Bailey pointed out when they're on their way for the first time to his cabin in the middle of nowhere that's actually only a few miles away, there's like 5 seconds of screen time for the stand-in. So it's them. I don't know if you caught it. It's them in the carriage, and they're riding away. And it's just a completely different dude in the carriage. I loved it. You see his whole face and everything. Delightful. I'm so glad. Bailey made me rewind it to see it, and I gotta tell you, I'm so glad I did. I took a note. BYU dating to a T. That is this movie. You mentioned it. I wrote it down. I just want you to know I'm right there. Like, this reminded me so much. Like, it's no wonder. These kids, these BYU Idaho kids, they are raised on this movie. This is their mother's milk, okay? And it shows. It shows when you get there. It's just how it is. You go, you pick one, and you gotta do it fast. That's how it works. That's how you get married.
Yeah. Cody, I'm gonna have to cut you off mid sentence there. But yes, I did notice the stand-ins. I was just like, that's different people. Does he not know how to do they? Why though? That was my question. So my question to you, Cody, is the same question I had at the time. Why?
Why? It's the question we all have in our hearts, in our minds. I just loved it. I loved just a cabin full of horny gingers. That's what I like. That's what we need more movies of, Just men who are gingers with pent up sexual angst, just going at it, dance fighting, kidnapping people. It was great. It's a great movie. Do you know why they're gingers? I'm sure you looked it up. Remember, you're not allowed to steal this fun fact.
I've looked nothing up.
They made them redheads because they're like, we're not going to be able to tell the Parnaby brothers apart from all the town folk during the fight scenes. So they're like, tell you what, Parnaby brothers, they're all redheads. Boom. Now you can pick them out of a crowd. So I thought that was, even though like they also made them dress more colorfully, and they were the ones with like beards and
they're also like a foot taller than all of the townsfolk.
But no. That's the only reason they have red hair, because they're like, we got to make these boys stick out. I liked it. I liked her lesson about going courting. She didn't teach him that much. She was just like, hey, you gotta make up an excuse to touch her, or for her to touch you. That's how you do it. That was like her whole song, going courting. But it was literally just like, yeah, no, do that. And then look, there you are. Got her hand on your back. You nailed it. You did it. Good job. They take that a half step further and kidnap people. And it's like, she wasn't explicit enough in her directions, and that's on her. If there's one thing we can learn from this movie, it's her fault. So, yeah, they get one bride for one brother. Adam does not tell her that he has 7 brothers. There are 7 of them there. Because she was like, I'll just have one man to cook and clean for. This is great. And then he's like, anyway, there's 7 of us, and we're all animals. I did enjoy watching her, like, tame them a little bit,
Yeah, you did.
It was fun.
Yeah,
She's like, got your breakfast? You guys are all naked in blankets and until you guys behave, you don't get to eat your food. I like that.
I told what I said to
Can't just
Tiffany.
grab a woman like she's a hotcake. You know what they go on to do? They literally snatch women out of the village like they're hotcakes. Remember that? She told them that advice.
Yeah.
So good.
But they wrapped him in a blanket, which is how you would wrap a hot cake, Cody.
Got to keep your hotcakes warm.
Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, Cody. When he was driving her out there, I was like, "This is a real Snow White situation," because she's like singing. There's birds coming up and chirping along with her singing. And she's like, "Yeah, except she's married to one of them." And I was like, "Well, why do you think Happy was so happy?" And I want to just say, "Boom, high five! Give me the high five on that one. Give it to me. Give it to me. Yes. Boom." I was so proud of myself when I hit her with that one. She's just stared at me, and just really just stared until she was confident that I felt some amount of shame, and then let the movie keep going. And
Nice.
but you're proud of me, right?
Oh yeah, I'm very proud. So she tames him a little bit. They take him to the barn raising. It's a whole little celebration, but also you build a barn. And they try to be real nice. And then someone attacks Adam, and they're like, how about instead we have a big old brawl? And it was a lot of fun. I will say, I think the choreography of the whole barn raising scene was great. I thought it was wonderful. I think it took like 3 weeks of rehearsing to get all of that right. And it showed, they had to do some big wide shots that were really long. They did a great job, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it was well done.
One of the guys was like not very good at dancing. You're like, how about this? We'll have you do a bunch of flips and stuff, and no one will even care. So that's part of the reason for all the acrobatics. They're like, you guys can't dance, but look at those flips. There's other people like, I can't really dance. And you're like, it's not even like, it's like square. Just lift your knees up real high, and no one will care. And look at that. Look at the product we got. It's great. Dorcas is one of the best dancers of the actresses who played the brides, and her partner was one of the worst male dancers, so she didn't really get to dance that much. In case you were wondering. Dorcas.
Dorcas.
My favorite line of the movie, because they really milk Dorcas for all it's worth, because they say it like 7 times. Like, I don't know any other bride's name except for Dorcas. I know Dorcas. I'll never forget Dorcas.
Dorcas.
Where's Dorcas? The one guy like shows up. It's like, where's Dorcas? So good.
Dorcas.
Anywho,
Yeah.
they go barn raising. They get kicked out because they were naughty boys. They go home. Then the winter happens. They're all sad, lonely, still horny as ever, as we know. So they sing a song. They swing red axes. That was another good one. Swing dancing with swinging an axe around. It's the best. Next time I'm in a mood, I'm gonna get a hatchet and I'm just gonna twirl around my backyard a little bit. I think it'll be very therapeutic. And yes.
When they were doing that, I was like, I don't think that's a real axe. And then I stopped, and then there was silence, and there was like, it was the 80s, so maybe it is a real axe. Because, what's the worst that can happen? Somebody gets hit by an axe? It's fine. It's the 80s.
No worries.
There's other people.
The 80s?
When they filmed it, is what I'm saying. Or the 50s.
No, the 50s.
50s.
Yeah, 50s. Yeah.
50s, when they filmed it.
No, for sure. I mean, yeah, no. You were owned by the studio. You know what? You're just a piece of property,
Yeah.
Ain't no big deal. There's a dead person in a shot of Wizard of Oz. We're not even worried about it. They're all upset. Adam's like, guys, why are you so upset? It's fine. You know what? You'll get married, or you won't. One woman's pretty much like the next. I was like, oh god, this guy. And his poor wife is like, I love you. He was love at first. That's why I came here to the middle of nowhere with you. He goes out to a cabin. So he gives him the idea, right? He's like, the Sabine woman, they got kidnapped. Didn't that go well? We can do that too. So that's what they do. And what do they say? Oh, you can't give no vows to a herd of cows. That was part of their sad, sad song. Love that. So they go to the town. They start kidnapping all their women of choice. There's a little chase scene. My favorite kidnapping, I don't know about you. There are a lot of good ones. My second favorite was probably the one where she reaches out the window and they just snatch her. So you just see like her legs disappear through the window. That's always a classic. The other one that was good was the guy who pretended to be a cat. He's like meow, 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 and then she's not coming, and then he's in a hurry, so it's like meow, meow. He's just yelling. So good. Bailey, that was her favorite part too. She got a huge kick out of it. I mean, that's all we need. We just need men on screens shouting meow. A+ cinema.
Well, I mean, that's what
Brilliant
Cats is, right?
That's why everyone loves cats so much.
Yeah. The best part was
Here's
that
the
the
thing,
other guy
this
came out to stop him, and he also went meow, and then they killed that guy.
Yeah. Here's the thing. This is probably the most unrealistic part of this movie because fear is an aphrodisiac. Okay, when you're in a life-threatening situation, you get a lot of hormones that shoot up and they bond you to the person you're with. Okay, that's why you can get things like Stockholm syndrome, and that's why it's a good idea to take your date in a terrifying situation like bungee jumping or cliff diving, or you drive real fast and scare them, because then it forces those hormones to be like, this person will help you get out of this scenario. All right. A little lesson for you, for you people out here looking to steal a woman. Anyway, so the fact that the women were like hesitant to be with them was the most unrealistic thing. It's like, well, you kidnap someone, you're gonna get those hormones going, and they're gonna be bonded to you forever. It worked in the long game. It worked, but I just think realistically in real life, it would have taken like a couple days. They would be like, this is fine. This is gonna work out great. So I just wanted to point that out. They have a whole chase scene. They go through the canyon. The town's all after him. The guy says, "Where's Dorcas?" They do the avalanche. Just boom.
We're
snowed in. Boom. We're in the cabin. We're snowed in for winter. Nailed it. You know what? It's a perfect plan. Couldn't have gone any better, I would say. What's her name?
Dorcas.
What's the wife's name? The main wife's name? The one who isn't Dorcas, the main one.
Emily? Right?
Millie. Millie.
Millie.
Who's delightful. She's wonderful. We love Millie. It's like, oh my gosh. All right, ladies are staying in the house. You boys are sleeping out in the barn. You guys are maniacs. You're crazy. Adam was like, yeah, but this was kind of a good idea. And Adam goes off and secludes himself in a cabin for a while. I don't fully understand why, but he does. He goes away.
You don't understand why he left?
I forget why he left. Oh, because she was mad at him?
She was mad at him, yeah.
So he was... Yeah, so instead of making things better, he just left, right?
Yeah. That's the way real men do it, Cody.
When the movie starts, I'm like, Adam's a hero. Maybe he's a chauvinist, but he's a hero. And then when he left, I was like, this chauvinist is nothing like I thought he was. He really let me down. That hurt my feelings a little bit, He broke my heart.
Yeah. But he had to break it so that he could build you back up, Cody.
Yeah, that's true. One of the younger ones goes to try to talk Adam back in because, by the way, they have a baby. So Adam's like, his wife has a baby. He doesn't know about it. The younger brother goes in and is like, hey, man, your wife has a baby. You should come back. And he's like, I don't even believe you, probably. Even if it's right, which it probably is. You're dumb. I'm staying here, So he stayed.
Yeah.
And he has a whole speech. He's like, you don't even know Millie. She's a woman. She got pride, and she's spunky. I was like, yeah,
spunky.
You got her. You know exactly what she's about. She got pride and spunk. All right.
Yeah.
The snow starts to melt, and it's like, it's game time. The pass is gonna be open. The town's coming in. All right, they're coming in to steal back their women. The women are like, actually, I'm like super into these guys now that we're here, just waiting around, So they're like, we're gonna hide. We're not even gonna. So the guys are trying to wrangle up the girls. The townsfolk are coming, ready to hang the 7 brothers, because it's the West. Remember that part?
Oh yeah, no, I remember.
And they show up and they're like, "Oh my goodness, there's a baby. Oh, this is terrible. All right, who here, whose baby is this?" And all the 6 brides left are like, "Mine. It's all mine." And they all say it's mine. Here's my thing. So to make honest women out of them, they have to all get married, and everyone's fine with it. Here's my thing. There's only one baby.
Yeah.
There's only one baby. So how does this plan work?
Well, Cody, here's the thing. Based on what I know of the Catholic Bible as a man from Boston, my whole
Yes.
life growing up in Boston, that's how you do it.
Oh,
You just have a baby near you, and then all of a sudden you're allowed to marry the person you kidnapped. That's how they did it,
I don't.
you know?
Look. I can't be too mad because before West Side Story came out, musicals were called musical comedies. Okay, we're just here to have a good time. All right, we're here for a good time, not for a long time. These aren't serious. This is just a fun movie. There's singing, there's dancing. Have fun. You know, that's what it's for. But let me tell you, they did not fall in love fast enough with their kidnappers. That's the first one. Number two, there's only one baby. So, like, you know what I'm saying?
I know
Aside
exactly
from
what
that, scientifically, flawless film.
you're saying. Yeah. I
You
mean,
know what I'm saying?
I would imagine that the circumstances of their marriage made for some awkward Thanksgiving dinners, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I mean, well, I mean, I don't know if, it's
It's how it was. Is that what you're trying to say?
one of those things, like, this is how you get those, like, crazy mountain towns with, like, people that have been inbreeding for, like, 7 generations, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think anyone else is showing up at their, it's like, all right, we married you off, so you won't be sent to hell when you die, and that's the best we can do for you. You know what I'm saying? I think they had to find their own way. They just made their own community, and the nieces and nephews got together, and et cetera, and that's how we got Portland, you know? That's how Portland came to be. And that's why in Portland, their motto is, keep Portland weird, you know? Gotta keep it weird.
Yep.
This movie takes place in Oregon, and I know 2 things about Oregon. Number 1, this movie takes place there. Number 2, Portland is in Oregon. There, ergo, using the scientific method, the Ponapis created Portland.
Oh, Ponape starts with a P.
Ponape,
Portland.
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 Yes.
Makes sense.
So
I don't see any
that's,
holes in that logic.
0. There's 0
Now, Cody,
holes.
I gotta tell you. Here's the thing. You want to talk about these these like small communities, right, where they're all inbreeding and stuff for generations.
Yeah.
It's wild out here. Tiffany, I don't want to talk to you. She's in the other room.
Okay.
She's from one of these communities, Cody.
Uh-oh.
You know, your wife, she's from Topeka, another one of
Oh,
these communities.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
You know, you ever
Once
look at your
once
wife's
you get out of
family?
Boston, it's kind of just the Wild West. You know what I'm saying? The further you
Yeah.
go, it's like, oh gosh, what are they doing
Exactly.
over there?
You know, you get more than 2 miles from the coast, it's like, what are you even doing? 2 miles from the East Coast, it's just
I mean, it's the
lawless
people that
and
are
nothing.
it's the people that are living without law. You know
Yeah.
what? If they can't live within the confines of the law, then they leave the coast. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's how it goes.
Here's a side note. All right, Cody. All jokes aside, you know me. I just moved here to the Baston area not too long ago. There's a town not too far from me.
Yeah.
You would look at it and pronounce it Worcester, which is how it's pronounced. All right, let's be real. People from Boston call it Worcester. People
Worcester.
from Worcester say Worcester. You can fight me on that, people from Boston. You pronounce it just as wrong as the people who say Worcester. My favorite video I've ever seen in my entire life up to this point, Cody, is somebody saying, "Oh, where do you live?" It's like it's one of them TikToks, and like, "Where do you live?" Worcester. "Oh, I think you mean Worcester." "Where do you live?" "Dorchester." "I think you mean Dooster." It's the best got 'em ever, all right? And now forever, Dorchester will be Dooster. So I want to mobilize our community of like 4 fans. We need to change the pronunciation of Dorchester to Dooster because
All it takes is enough people.
it'll make me so happy.
So you make up any word, you just start saying it, and eventually they got to put it in the dictionary. You know what I'm saying?
Like Dorcas.
If we mobilize this, the number 1 pronunciation of Dorchester in the dictionary could be Deuster.
Deuster.
Give it to me again. Deuster? Am I saying that
Deuster.
right?
Yeah.
Deuster.
It makes as
Sounds like
much sense as Worcester, as Worcester.
Worcester.
Or if you're from Boston, Worcester. Like whisker
What a
with a
magical
T.
place you live.
It,
So
Cody.
great. It's kind of like Utah with their like Hurricane Utah. You're like, really? We're doing this here and now. We're gonna name a town Hurricane, and we're all gonna call it Hurricane Number One. Why are you naming any town Hurricane? That's like if I moved to Southern California and named a town Earthquake. It's like, you know what? Let's just tempt fate right now. I will pronounce it Earthquake, and it will be fine. Like, nope, no. Your town's name is Hurricane, and you guys are all maniacs.
All right,
Also, let's keep going. Tennessee, home of the Cracker Barrel, Lebanon, Tennessee. You may think it's Lebanon, like the country. No, it's Lebanon, and that's where Cracker Barrel lives. Okay,
Yeah.
Fun fact.
there's also one there in Missouri, not too far from where you live. There's lots of people from there. Comes up a lot. You know, it's a whole thing. It's also Mexico, which is pronounced Mexico, Missouri.
There's a Mexico, Missouri.
Yeah, it's where my
Makes
mom's
me a
from.
little mad.
So I always say my mom is Mexican because technically, true. Very technically, very true. Let's talk about Arkansas City or Arkansas City. Everybody's like, it's in Kansas, so they pronounce it Arkansas City. Here's the one way to find out if somebody's from Arkansas City or not. Ask them where they're from. If they say Arkansas City, they're not from there. If they say Arkansas
local.
City, they're not from there. If they say Ark City, then you know. That's what they call
okay.
it. Ark City. A-R-K City.
I learned something. This might blow your mind. Originally, most people pronounced Arkansas, Arkansas. That was like the original pronunciation of it. And over time, it got diluted, and they had to like make an official whatever. And they were like, all right, we're gonna stick with Arkansas. But for like a long time, it was pronounced Arkansas. Isn't that crazy? Doesn't that make you mad? Aren't you just red with fury?
I mean, it's fine because it's just Kansas with something tacked onto the end, right? Thing is, Arkansas is older than Kansas, so that's the. You know who the only group of people that still pronounce Arkansas Arkansas?
Who?
People from Kansas, and we hate those people.
That's true.
You should okay. Did I ever tell you about my wife? Her speaking of married, going out kidnapping yourself a wife. My wife's aunt started dating and got engaged to a man. Tiffany was like, "Oh, he's from Kansas City," and I was like, "Oh yeah." She's like, "Well, he's from Kansas," and she said my face went from like, "Oh, that's awesome," to like, just like all the light behind my eyes gone, and I was like, "That's different." And she was like, "It was the hardest shift in attitude I've ever seen." And I was like, "Well, it is. It is different. All right." Cody,
It is?
do you understand? You've been there for a while. Do you understand yet?
Here's the thing. I fully understand. I knew someone who was homeless. I was like, they were like couch surfing, whatever, trying to get by, like, to have a place to sleep, sleeping in their car, whatever. And I was like, I think these people, they go to a school, St. Mary's, which is it's like, I think it's near Leavenworth. And I was like, I think they're about to rent a place here in Kansas, rent a place here. I wonder if they would, be interested in having a third roommate. She's like, I would never live in Kansas. I'm like, you are homeless. you, like, I understood the feud at that moment. I was like, oh, you would rather be homeless than rent an apartment in Kansas. I understand the feud now. Makes perfect sense. My in-laws live in Kansas, and I have no beef with the people of Kansas because I am a cuck. What's it called?
You just leave it at that.
Not export or what's an implant, whatever you want to call it. I'm from elsewhere, all right, and I come here to Kansas City, and I'm a leech on society. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? And I've always lived on the Missouri side. I don't think I'll ever live on the Kansas side, but you know what? If I do, I could do it, but I understand it. I don't know. It's confusing.
Just don't, Cody. That's my
I
advice to
respect
you.
it.
Just
You know
don't.
what I'm saying?
If you
I
value
respect it.
your
Here's the thing.
soul,
Is Kansas an awful place? I won't comment, but I will say that Overland Park is frequently like ranked as like a wonderful place to live. So what am I supposed to do with that information? Like,
Okay,
what if someone was
okay.
like, I'm going to give you a house in Overland Park?
Here's the problem with that, Cody.
Hmm.
Overland Park is where like millionaires live. So yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
awesome to live there because the average person you ask, "Are you happy with where you live?" is a millionaire. So they're probably like, "Yeah, no, it's pretty sweet."
Yeah. The cheap houses in Overland Park are like 400K. Like that's like the low end.
Oh, that's pretty cheap.
And it only goes up from there. What's that?
That's
No,
pretty
you're
cheap.
out of the market. I paid half that for my house. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like a whole other world where it's like, I don't know, the low end here is like 150, 200,
Yeah.
but there it's like low end's 400. That's like that gives you a small house.
Yeah.
Most houses are way bigger than that. Anywho,
Anyway,
so would you consider Overland Park Kansas City, or would you consider it? No, it's like in the Kansas deal. Like, does it fall into Kansas City Metro where it's okay to be from there, or is it?
yeah,
under
I mean, I'd say if
Kansas?
you're from Overland Park, you would say you're from Kansas City to someone who doesn't
Here's the thing.
know.
Here's the thing that Kansas people do that does drive me a little crazy because I've always lived in Missouri and I'm on the Kansas City. I've always lived in North Kansas City, either the city of North Kansas City or somewhere in the Northland. All right, that's
Yeah.
my home now. That's where I live. People from Kansas, because I go to church. I mean, not now, but I went to church for a while with people from both Missouri and Kansas. But people from Kansas be like, "Did you ever think you'd move to Kansas?" I'm like, never did and still don't. I still have not, they just assume like I live in Kansas, therefore you do, like they're always like, oh, I can't believe we all live here in Kansas now. I'm like, we don't all live here. You live in Kansas. I live in Missouri. We're both near Kansas City. Sure. But why do you assume that we're all lumped into Kansas with you? We are not. That's not how this works.
Just goes
know what
to
I'm
show
saying?
you like the
Like,
attitude.
I respect the state divide, but the Kansas people don't. They're just like, this is all Kansas, and we're all here now. You know
Here's
what
the
I'm
real
saying?
thing. People from Kansas
They'll be like,
don't
they
wanna be
live
in
in
Kansas.
Kansas, and they're talking to me in Missouri, and they'll be like, crazy you live in Kansas now. I'm like, no, it's not. It's crazy you're saying that. It's
Yeah.
crazy that you have brought this up.
Okay, here's the thing, Cody, with Kansas. All right, Kansas is such a horrible place to live, and such a horrible place to live and work and be, that they're just like, they want to be part of, they want to be part of something bigger than themselves. All right, so they want to be like, man, it's crazy how we all live in this same area, and you got to do what you do. You got to be like, stop right there, sir. I'm better than you. All right. You live in Kansas. All right. We're not the same. It's very much the what's the guy with the meme where you got his, like, you live in Kansas. I live in Kansas City. We're not the same.
Yeah, yeah.
You're a state named after a city that wasn't even that big of a city when the state was made a state. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Just let it soak in. You're a state that the entire state is tilted like it's trying to dump you out of it, all right?
Yeah, my favorite thing about the feud is that like it always comes up that it's like Kansas is great. It's not Missouri. Missouri was a slave state. Yeah, our schools are terrible, but we're not Missouri. I'm like, wait. Like every even like the Kansas people that are pro Kansas, like, yeah, our schools suck. Like except for Overland Park, all of like Kansas schools are like, no, we don't pay enough for anything or take it. Like, yeah, it's awful, but that's the cost of living in Kansas,
Here's what I think. I think this movie doesn't actually take place in Oregon. I think it takes
No.
place in Kansas City. And they're like,
Whoa.
they got kidnapped. They kidnapped these 7 brides. And then after they'd been there, in an off-screen moment, they turned to Millie. Is that her name? Millie? And they're like, wait, we're in Missouri, not in Kansas? And that's when the shift happened. That's when it changed from, I want to go home, I want to go back to my family too. I don't want to go back to Kansas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the shift. That's the lesson of the movie.
Wow. There's some great lessons in this movie. You know what's interesting? This movie did very well, but at the time when the movie was being produced by the studio, they were like, we're pumping out so many musical comedies left and right. You know where the money's at? It's Brigadoon. It's got Gene Kelly in it. Obviously, we got it. So they literally slashed the budget of this movie to up the budget of Brigadoon. And then when they both came out, it was like, no, this movie crushed in the box office, instant classic, did fantastic, and Brigadoon did like okay. So kind of interesting, but there were a lot of trivia where it's like, yeah, no, they cut this out. Like that's part of the reason this wasn't shot on location. It was sound stages, and they had like the painted backdrops instead of actually going to places to shoot it. They were like, nope, you got to do this on the cheap. They did it on the cheap, and they're like, no, this is a way better. It's also kind of weird too, because like there are a lot of musicals like, no, it's a musical, and then we bring it to musical on Broadway, and then we bring it to the screen. But this one, like they literally just wrote it, and they're like, yeah, no, we're just gonna make a movie. So it was an original movie musical. So kind of interesting.
That is interesting. I did. There was the moment
Howard Keel.
Oh, yes.
Oh no, go ahead.
When they were in the little flower meadow, when she's talking, and he like, only cook and clean for one man. He's like, anyway, we better get going. I was like, said to Tiffany, I was like, I don't think those are real mountains.
Yeah,
and she,
you're right. Eagle eyes.
There's another moment when she just kind of looked at me.
She's like, why did I invite you to watch this movie with me?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the sets were like delightful. Like, I thought it just really added to the charm of the movie. For me, it worked. I thought it looked great. Howard Keel, who plays Adam, said this was his favorite movie making experience. It was delightful. He loved it. He even made them change the script a little bit, and the screenwriters walked off, and they put on different screenwriters to make the changes he wanted. But he was like, I stand by it. The director thought I stood by it. It was a bummer. It was like a rift, but I love this movie. That was wonderful.
But did he like 8.5? That's the real question.
Oh, we're gonna have to call up Howard Keel, who is almost certainly dead, and find out what he thinks.
Yeah, I thought I recognized one of the brothers from another movie, but I was like, the only other musical movie that I would have seen him in would have been the old like Pirates of Penzance movie, which came out in the 80s, and I was like, almost certainly not the same guy.
Yeah, he was in a few, but he was in a few other musicals, but I haven't seen any of them. So Kiss Me Kate might be one, or
here's a fun fact for you: Gideon he plays the guy Johnny. I think his name's Johnny.
West Side Story.
West Side Story, yeah.
Bailey pointed that out. She's like, that's the guy from West, because she loves that movie. There were a few issues with the censor for this movie, which I thought were kind of interesting. So there was one of the songs called "Lonesome Polecat," and the brothers say a man can't sleep when he sleeps with sheep because they're out there in the barn. And the censors weren't happy about it, so they're like, okay, you can say it, but you can't show any sheep in the shot with the brothers to avoid any like further insinuations from the line. So that's how they got away with it. And there was one, I'm trying to find one because there's one specifically about the title. Because I think originally the title was like Seven Brides for One Brother or something like that, something along those lines. And they were like, nope, too scandalous, and they had to change it a couple times.
They could have called it the kidnapping of oh my gosh. He's gone. Cody, when I tell you that the name of the girl has been replaced with Dooster in my mind.
Dorcas?
Dorcas.
Dooster?
I was like, the kidnapping of Dooster. And I was like, nope, that's the name of Dorchester now. Dorcas. Oh, the kidnapping of Dorcas. That could have been the name. I would have gone to see that movie.
This is really, really driving me crazy because I should have written this down.
But you didn't, and we're all suffering, Cody.
They did shoot this movie on 2 different cameras, so they had to do multiple takes, different things sometimes, because there's the CinemaScope camera, it's like extra wide shots, and then they did because they're like, well, there aren't that many theaters that have CinemaScope yet, so they didn't want to like mess up that marketing, so they had to shoot like multiple things at times.
I mean, that's the struggles they had to deal with back in the 50s. 50s, yes. They're like, not everybody has a camera. Not everybody knows what Dooster. No. Gosh. Dorcas is. Okay.
Dorcas.
Also, okay, that actually reminds me of something. We couldn't think of an F name from the Bible, so we went with frankincense.
Yeah, I love that one.
There
I
are
saw
F
some
names.
trivia. It's like there are F names, but I think it's like the speculation is like, oh, maybe just Old Testament names, F names. But also, well, then when there's the daughter, they're going with H names. They're like probably like Hagar, and you're like, bruh.
Yeah.
And then Adam's like, how about Hannah? You're like, yeah, no, definitely Hannah.
Yeah, she's like
not
Hannah,
Hagar.
Hepzibah, Hagar.
Yeah.
Let's go with Hannah. I was like, you know what? Adam loves
How is
his
Hannah
daughter.
not even on her radar?
Frederick. Isn't Frederick in that thing? I mean, there's Felix and Festus and all.
All right.
You know, there's Roman names. They tell a Roman story.
That's true.
They're like, there's no F names for boys.
So here's the naming of the movies. Originally, it was going to be The Sobbin' Women. MGM was like, no one's going to want to see a movie with that title. So they were like, A Bride for Seven Brothers. That was what it was. So A Bride for Seven Brothers. And they were like, yeah, no, that's very risque. So they changed it to Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. So there you go.
And they did get 7 brides by the end.
That's true.
Cody, if I learned anything from this, I learned that if you're a bride in June, you're always a bride, or what?
Yeah, what was that?
I don't know. I was
What does that
hoping you knew.
mean?
I don't know.
No, I was very confused by that. Too confused to write it down in my notes. That's where I was just like, you know what? I can't even spend the brain space on that.
All the brain space was taken up by your favorite character, Cody. Dorcas.
Dorcas. Where's Dorcas?
Where's Dorcas? Oh, Dorcas.
No, but really,
the
though,
true
you
gem.
talked about the dating thing. It is so... It was like, yeah. I think Ever and Abelia has watched this movie like 5 too many times, you know? And that's the whole... It's the whole game. You know what I'm saying? You look them over, you pick one out, and you're like, that's it. I had to pick today, or else my nose is going to pick, you know? That's how it goes.
I've had to explain so many BYU dating practices to my wife, and she's always shocked. But less shocked than I think she would have fared very well, and I'm glad that she did. She would have been scooped up real fast by like the first guy that would have been like, "Hey, I need to take a bride home next week. Let's do it."
You got to be careful who you make eye contact with at the BYU schools, because it's like, you know, that first person, that's the one. You matched already. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's how it goes. Calling out BYU right now. Go on at least 3 dates. At least 3.
That's a good...
I proposed to my wife very fast. You know. You judged me
Yeah.
for it. And I probably put some... And I apologize, Cody, because I'm sure I put some pressure on you. I'm sure it came up. Because I know at least your then girlfriend had brought it up to me right after I had proposed. About like, when's Cody going to do it? And I was like, oh no. I put Cody in a rough spot. But
How many
I
dates
will
do you guys
say,
go on?
we went on at least 4 before I gave her a ring. And they were several hours.
But that's a different thing.
Several hours of talking. Like, they were the kind of dates where we went and like went on a walk and like talked about literally everything we could think about. They weren't like, let's go see a movie.
Yeah.
So that's my thing, is at least go on 3 or 4 dates before purchasing a wedding ring, right?
Yeah. That's a good, you know, sage advice for everyone, you know?
You know, I'll roll it back. Talk to them for more than 3 hours.
There
know
you go.
them. Know them
There
for
you go.
a period
Now
of
you're
time.
talking. Find out how many brothers they have. Find out
Exactly.
if they live with all those brothers.
If you don't know their
What
middle
the
name,
implications of you marrying them will be. What kind of responsibilities you'll be expected to have in the household, you know.
Yeah.
Although those are great questions to have if you have more than 5 minutes to interview a potential spouse.
yeah. I mean, you know,
I
Cody.
don't-
I got married so fast that you, I'm sure I know you, and I'm sure other people probably like, Tiffany pregnant. Joke's on you. We don't have any kids, so we just got married very fast.
Yeah, you did.
Here we are, Cody. When you've been married as long as I have, then you'll understand. That was the real motivation behind it. I was like, I need to be married.
No, it was a
matter
very
of months
smart
longer.
chess move in the long run. You've got that on me for.
Got like what 5
Hey,
months?
but if I beat you to have kids, and it'd be like, you know what? When you've been a father as long as I have, I'm gonna have that one. So you watch out. You just watch out. Off to the races, I say. You know. Well, Tyler, it's been a pleasure. I would love to hear. Give me a score on this movie. What would you give it?
I'd give this one. I'd give it a B. I think if Tiffany brings it up and wants to watch it again, I'd be down for it. But I'm not gonna be the one to bring it. But I liked it. I was not offended by the film. It was enjoyable. I would rewatch.
Yeah,
but would not go out of my way to rewatch.
That's exactly what I would say. I would give it a B. And I mean, I think if you're like a musical person, maybe, or if I were a musical person, maybe it would get a higher grade. But the fact that I enjoyed it, I liked it, thought it was a classic. And, you know, it's just nice to be reminded of simpler times. Times when a white man could take what he pleased. And there were no ramifications, no judgments, you know? Those are the times I miss. The good old days, Oregon in the 1850s, you know? So I would recommend it. It goes down pretty easy. It's pretty fun. The sets were great. There's some great choreography, some humor, and Bailey was like, when did they have sex? Like, they have a baby? She's pregnant? You know, she was so surprised. I was like, Bailey, as soon as she invited him back into the bedroom, boom, done deal. You know what I'm saying? Remember when she was like, all right, you can't sleep in here, so he goes down and sleep on the tree, you know? As soon as she was like, well, I guess you can come back inside, I was like, no, it's done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The pickle made it into the jar. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the bed's already broken, so at that point, might as well go for it, you know?
That was very much a BYU Idaho dating moment, too, you know? It's like the horny dudes that aren't married just being like, oh, what do they do? Oh, man. Oh, you know? Listening in. Remember those days?
Oh, I remember.
Remember when you're sitting outside your brother's wedding bedroom, you know, and you hear the bed break for the first time? Just, sweet, sweet memories, you know?
Yeah. I am very glad that my brothers went and got hotel rooms, because I did share a home with them when they first got married, at least one of them. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that they went and got hotel rooms for their wedding night. Mm-hmm. I did have my best man / the man that married my wife and I stay in the hotel room with me, but we got there and I was like,
wait, he was there at your Airbnb?
Yeah, so he had to get on a flight in the morning. So I was like, well, you can crash, but we're going to get there and you need to leave. And he did.
Wow.
So he went out and he came back with a suspicious water bottle and a lot of glitter on him, and I didn't ask questions, Cody.
What is that?
Here's what you don't understand, Cody. We stayed right next to ASU, all right? Right next to. Just prime
Arizona's
access.
premier party school.
Exactly.
All right. Fair play. How it goes. Wow. Well, you know what? This was a good one. I would recommend Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. And yeah, there's so many musicals you could watch where you're like, oh, if you're not a musical person, you're like, I think this one has enough that you're like, no, it goes down easy. You'll like it. It's not like crazy long or anything. And it's just problematic enough to keep you interested. Like, it really grabs you right from the start.
Yeah.
So
total
classic.
If you're going to BYU, grab yourself 7 ladies, go up to a cabin in the woods and be like, I got a fun movie for us all to watch. And then see who doesn't panic, and that's your bride right there.
That's
Pick the one that doesn't panic.
Whichever one's there, still there by the time the movie ends, that is your bride to be.
Yeah.
Love it. Perfect solution. Tyler, it's been a pleasure. I want to thank the listeners out there. You can rate, review, and share us. Opinion Havers, wherever podcasts are found. We're on social media at Opinion Havers. Yell at us. Beholder memes. ask us, let us know if there's a movie you want us to do. You just let us know. We'll work it into the schedule, won't we? We've done it every time except for the one time. We're here. Thank you for listening. Until next time, watch movies.
And have opinions. Dorcas.
I was singing these songs, that night. I was humming these tunes. They get right in, they get right in there. Felt like a burly mountain man, Loved it. I bought a red wig. Got a little beaver skin suit. I'm ready to cosplay. All right, I'm ready for this.